Long live the morning routine. Long live friendly competition. Long live cozy nights at home. And long live healthcare that works with your life. Access to great doctors, simple mobile app, convenient locations across Long Island? Absolutely. You have options, but at Catholic Health, we'd like to remind you to choose you first, because we did too. Long live you, and long live Long Island.
Live from Kellenberg Memorial High, it is time for a Catholic high school football showdown on a gorgeous, albeit warm, Saturday afternoon. Today, the energy is great for homecoming, and before we get into the action, we have to thank our sponsor, Catholic Health. We appreciate the support not only to Varsity Media, but also to the local youth sports scene. And for us on Varsity Media with you this afternoon, I'm Kevin Bunk, joined by the great Kevin Dolan, former head coach at Chaminade. You know all about days like this, homecoming for Kellenberg. What goes into a Saturday afternoon like this?
There's no boring days in the Catholic League. You know, it's constant competition, a lot of parity in this league. And this day, the Cougars versus the Firebirds presents two very different but very serious degrees of importance for both of these teams.
Both of these teams looking for a big win early in the year, still just in the third week, and we have to take a look first at the impact players on the side of St. John's, what they can do, two guys who can really change the game, and that's going to be one on each side of the ball. The running back, who everything goes through, Kalen Purser-Hogue, and on the defensive side, Brandon Maloney. What do you see from these two guys?
You know, Kalen is just – there are no great football teams without a great running back. And Kalen is that guy that can do two things for you. One, control the clock. And two, give you those chunk plays when you need to move the chains and get that situation back. On the other side of the ball,
you have Brandon McCabe at receiver, and then at safety, Mark Chernaski. Kellenberg can match the pair for St. John's very easily.
You know, we're talking about guys that can prevent those chunk plays. And not only prevent the chunk plays, but turn the play around. Turnovers, special teams, big plays from your secondary, big plays from your receivers is going to be critical in this game, and I think we're going to see a lot of both.
Something that was really interesting is you talk to coaches during the week before these games, and usually when you ask for that impact player defensively, it's a front seven player. It's somebody on the defensive line who can really disrupt the backfield. But then you get Mark Chernaski as safety, who can just call your entire defense, quarterback it from the back, and he can disrupt at every level also for the Kellenberg Firebirds.
Leadership. And, you know, coming from the position of safety, he can see it all. He's closer to the players. And you know what? Unlike us coaches, especially old people like me, he speaks their language. They know what he's talking about. They can sense that sense of urgency. Just absolutely critical for them.
All week, these coaches have prepared their teams for this game. Let's take a look at the keys to the game for each side. Each coach has a set of things they want to execute. Coach, what do you see from this?
You know, possession time, it's become cliche. But possession time is just absolutely important, especially when we're dealing with this Kellenberg quarterback. But explosive plays, as I said earlier, regarding our running back from St. John the Baptist, that's going to give you that time of possession, especially in those thirds and longs and those things you need. Last thing is special teams. Don't be surprised that both of these coaches that we see today are going to be taking some chances. Kellenberg, take care of the football. Don't, again, win that clock time. No turnovers. Tackle efficiently. That's never cliche in this game. And play with confidence.
Both teams look ready to go and sound ready to go for a big one this Saturday afternoon. When we come back on the other side, we'll have a deeper dive into the players. Kickoff just a few minutes away from the Kellenberg homecoming here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Hi, I'm Katie Ledecky. As an Olympic athlete, you might think staying healthy is easy for me. Truth is, we all face challenges. Keeping the right mindset is how we achieve our best personal performance. At Catholic Health, the same focus on wellness and prevention that I follow every day is the way they think too. That's why I'm teaming up with Catholic Health to help make healthcare even more positive, proactive, and personal for every person across Long Island. Long live you, and long live Long Island.
St. John's, and once again, I'm Kevin Bunk, joined by former Chaminade head coach Kevin Dolan. And Kev, this Firebirds team, 0-4 right now, but the talent is there. What's the message throughout a week like this to prepare the team to try and get the first win?
In this league, you gotta forget the 0-4 stuff. I mean, unlike the public schools, you play a non-league schedule, and sometimes you don't pick those teams. And that schedule for Kellenberg has been treacherous. We don't know who Kellenberg is yet, and neither do they. And that's what makes this game, as a league game, not only important for the playoffs, but just important for them inside to find out who they are.
On the other side of this thing, Phil Alba's St. John's squad, 2-2, coming off of what he called one of the most heartbreaking losses of his career. They were up 21-0 in the third quarter and ended up losing the game. How do you bounce back from that one and make sure you just erase it?
Oh, Phil Alba, give me a break. Last time things were supposed to happen, my team was supposed to crush him at West Islip High School on a Friday night, and that didn't happen. You know, Phil knows how to coach teams. Phil knows how to get his kids inspirationally ready for the game. And this is, again, we can't forget, this is a league game. Phil is 2-2, Phil and the Cougars, and they're gonna be prepared. They gotta win this game.
I think an interesting wrinkle to this one that you don't see every day, James Alba, the offensive coordinator, is Phil's son. It's his 11th year coaching high school football. And Phil says to me on the phone, he says, you're going to think I'm saying this just because he's my son, but he's really running a college-style offense, and our guys are more well-prepared than any team I've had offensively. What do you know about James?
You know what? I was so fortunate to have coached with my son, Kevin Dolan, at Chaminade for 5 years. And at the end of our time, I said, you know, you're a much better coach than I am. Coaching with your son is outstanding. And what's outstanding for Phil and his son, James, is the confidence and the trust you put in to family. Family, family, family. And James, talk about figuring it out. He knows how to figure it out.
And right now you see both teams taking the sideline. Kellenberg ready to go. Leading them out was their team leader, the safety, Mark Chernaski, with the American flag. Both squads have a really good energy for today's game. And when you look at the talent pool both ways, two teams that could definitely make some noise all season long, but this is a pivotal one for each squad to try and give them that confidence, to try and give them the momentum moving forward that they need to conquer a really tough schedule.
It really is a momentum-driven game. It's a momentum-driven league. And, you know, both of these teams know this is a playoff atmosphere for them. It's hard, it's weird saying that this early in the year. It's 80 degrees outside, but it truly is playoff work today.
And you hear the PA going now. We're moments away from the national anthem, which will be followed by kickoff here from Kellenberg Memorial. They usually don't play on this field. It's not typical for them. And their coach, James Micey, told me that this is a real special day for them when they get to take this field, especially in front of a packed house. So we'll see the energy they have at the opening kickoff in just a few moments when we come back. But for now, we'll step out, national anthem on deck, and then the opening kickoff here between St. John's and Kellenberg at Kellenberg Memorial on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
What's up, it's Sean Lights Out Merriman, former Charger and Bill, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Long live the morning routine. Long live friendly competition. Long live cozy nights at home. And long live healthcare that works with your life. Access to great doctors, simple mobile app, convenient locations across Long Island? Absolutely. You have options, but at Catholic Health, we'd like to remind you to choose you first, because we did too. Long live you, and long live Long Island.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Here at Kellenberg Memorial, where the Firebirds look to get their first win of the season at homecoming. And we just had a great national anthem. Both teams ready to go, huddled up. And Kevin, this heat today, maybe I'm just not in great shape. Pretty warm one today, surprising for this time of the year.
Yeah, you know, global warming doesn't exist, huh? I tell you what, I started coaching high school football in 1989, and by October 1st, we were in sweatshirts and double socks and everything else. It's just getting warmer and warmer every year. You look at these two sidelines, you see a really long sideline for Kellenberg High School, and that's going to help you in this heat. On the other side, we do have to remember the kids are getting in better shape every day, every week, and it's 11 guys on 11 guys out there between the white lines. So we'll see how this goes, but I would not be surprised to see a few guys going down with those calf cramps.
Yeah, definitely a hot one today. It's been real up and down this fall, but hitting 80 degrees, once you get out on that turf, it adds a few. But it has been an up and down weather start to the year. Had a rainy week last week, then a cold week before that, sandwiched between hot weeks. But it feels like a summer day. It feels like one of those last week of August Saturdays. And it'll be Kellenberg kicking off to open things up. There you go, 80 degrees today, partly cloudy, but really a gorgeous day for their homecoming here on their home turf.
You know, last week I was blessed to have helped announce with Dylan the Oceanside Farmingdale game. 4 hours and 19 minutes. At one point, Kevin, it looked like Gettysburg out there with kids down with cramps. There was 6 kids down being stretched out. Let's hope we don't see that today and everybody gets through this one healthy.
Absolutely. To kick off the opener, putting it short. A little trouble for St. John's, but they come up with it. That was Caleb Diassi to start this game.
Well, that's the chances I was talking about earlier with special teams and turnovers, and it was Coach Micey who pulled the trigger first. And you know what? I think it was a great move. Great move. The field position's not terrible for Kellenberg here defensively. Be prepared to see a lot more of that today.
And in just a moment, leading this offense out for St. John the Baptist will be the quarterback Maurice Scott, who is really highly regarded within this program.
Boy, what a bunch of comments that were made by his coach about Maurice. And, you know, there's a kid that's going on scholarship up to Marist University, leader. He's a runner. And I think he compared him a little bit to Eli Manning in his throwing ability. If that's all true, this is going to be one exciting afternoon.
Scott in the shotgun lined up to his right. But before we can even get the first play, we get a flag. It's an illegal substitution on St. John, so not the start you want if you're Phil Alba trying to bounce back after a tough loss, but the start you're given.
Yeah, you know, and Phil, an old veteran like that, it's not the start you want, but it's the start you got. And, you know, a little bit of that is the nerves from the kids, and you're going to have that.
Once again, Scott steps in, hands this one off, taking it up the middle for a good gain, getting everything back and more, inside the 40 to the 20, and tripped up, taken down at the 11. Kalen Purser introduces himself.
Well, Kevin, I think we can classify that as a chunk play. Oh, man, I thought this kid would have a big day. I did not think it was going to be on the first play of the game. Look at this block. Oh, my goodness gracious. Anthony Rodriguez, really great job of stepping out, fanning out his player up the field. Now, that's the way to start a football game.
And you got a flag right at the end of that. I believe that was on Purser.
Well, you know what? It was probably because of the excitement of the kids at the end. And, you know, oftentimes the officiating crew will want to set the tone for the game. There's a lot riding on this. There's a lot of emotions in this game right now. And, you know, I really do think that Mr. Hart is our veteran white hat tonight, wants to tell the kids, let's play this game cleanly.
And we get a moment here where there's a conversation between Phil Alba and an official on the far sideline. And now we get the whistle, and we can pick play back up with Maurice Scott, who moves left, hands it off. Purser again found a lane, and it looks like he got just past the marker, enough for another fresh set of downs.
I'll tell you, Kevin, you know, a lot of transfers on the offensive line for St. John the Baptist. We got a young man from Longwood. We've got 2 kids from Bayshore. We got a first-year starter. But they are working like clockwork together right now. Very, 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 very good job playing as a unit.
Scott with Purser to his left, gives it to the back again, and that time Kellenberg is in to meet him at the line of scrimmage. Loss of about a half yard on first down.
Yeah, Firebirds aren't going to wait around much longer. You know, I've been banging heads with the Firebirds for quite a long time.
We can take a look at the starting offense for the Cougars. Maurice Scott is the signal caller. Kalen Purser is the running back. At the skill positions, the pass catchers, Kevin Peters, Jamad Jackson, James Conway, Jordan Redding. And along that offensive line, Guillermo Rodriguez, Samson Gillett. And you also have on that line a few others we'll get to in a moment. Handoff to Purser is going to go for maybe a yard. Kellenberg back in there again. But rounding out that offensive line, Nicholas Bikic, Omarion Douglas Clark, and Anthony Rodriguez. Perhaps the coolest storyline on this offensive line are the identical twin brothers at tackle.
Yeah, maybe the only thing better than coaching with your son is playing varsity football with your brother. Just just a great, great time. I mean, it could lead to some pretty rough dinners at night.
Here's Scott, drops back, pressured. About a 7-man rush from Kellenberg. Scott rolls right, tucks it. Almost made a move, but momentum pushed him out. Good job in pursuit there for Kellenberg. Was Joe Mullen, the middle linebacker, to force him out.
Really, really, really smart play by Maurice.
When we take a look at the starting defense for the Firebirds, Christian Antwine, Chris Biondi, Anthony Cabrera, and Joe Mullen up in the front four. Then Jamison Hennigan, Daniel Scott, Brandon Barkley, Mark Chernaski, Will Auerbach, Gabe Alfaro, and Nick Rugen are your linebackers and secondary. Firebirds have a good defense. They're going to force Chaminade to a field goal attempt here. And the kick is up and through for St. John. That's Jaden Osmani putting it through and getting St. John the Baptist on the board first. 3-0 is the score.
Great job by Tyler Icarino. One of the guys you don't think about that much, the long snapper. I mean, he's the first one to touch the ball on that play, and his performance and his timing is critical. And that was a beautiful long snap by that young senior.
For Kellenberg, you're looking at that drive and saying, we gave up the 2 big chunk plays to the running back, Purser, who's going to have them. It's inevitable. But you leave that drive with a big hold in the red zone. You only give up 3. That's a win to start this game.
Yeah, you know what? You send that message by putting points on the board early. You know, because of the Detroit Lions, everybody's pounding their chests and they're going for it on 4th and 17 and in the red zone from the 9, and the score is tied and they're going for it. You got to be smart. You got to give the game to the kids. Let them win the game. Take the points.
Jaden Osmani will be the kicker once again here after putting in the field goal. Interesting note, he's just started kicking. He was a soccer player. He converted, and Phil Alba said he spoke to Mrs. Osmani, Jaden's mother, and said, soccer's done. Football is where it is because this kid can kick at a college level, and you see it right there. He sends one to the goal line. It's taken out for Kellenberg to about the 24-yard line.
I have been so fortunate in my career to have some great, great kickers. People ask me, what do you do in the offseason to create these kickers? And the answer is nothing. They fall into my lap. Division I college players, when you have a weapon in the kicking position or punting position, you've taken away 25% of the game from your opponent.
And he says with Jaden, this is Coach Phil Alba, of course, told me, he hits from 50 with ease in practice. So you talk about a weapon, that's the definition of one in high school football. Dan LeCarry is the quarterback for Kellenberg. He gives the first one to his running back. And they get about 2 yards. LeCarry having a really nice season here, but still trying to find that first win.
You know, Jim McDermott, a longtime offense coordinator at Kellenberg, outstanding football coach. And, you know, James Alba. Coach, let me get to these starters.
Yeah, let's go through these Kellenberg starters here. Dan LeCarry under center. Jaden McLeod is the running back. Brendan Barkley is the other running back. He'll get plenty of action. Ryan Kuntz, Brandon McCabe, John Hastings are your pass catchers. And then along the offensive line, it's Jean-Francois, Kitson, DeChico, Clark, and Nielsen. Another snap, quick screen, left side is caught and taken for a few yards. It'll bring up a third and manageable. On the reception was John Hastings.
You know, going back to those offensive coordinators, both of these gentlemen, for those of you football heads out there, are running true RPO football with these quarterbacks. Great read by there. Look at him zip that ball out. Outstanding pass. And by making that point on true RPO football means they're not tagging the plays. They're not telling the quarterback what they want. They're letting the kid be an athlete. And I have huge respect for that, the trust that they give both of these quarterbacks.
Big third down right here for the Firebirds. They're going to hand it off. Trying to fight after contact. Ball came out, but definitely after the runner was down, and it's going to bring up 4th and about 4. How about the St. John Cougars defense off to a great start up front? Jordan Redding, Joseph Arden, Jason Bartholomew, and Brandon Maloney. And in the linebacking group, Kalen Purser, Aiden McLaughlin, Christopher Trinka, and then in the secondary, it's Brandon Hunter, Jamad Jackson, Kevin Peters, and at safety is, excuse me for a moment, Finn Hansen, and we get a flag there, which will bring up first down.
And that's the stuff you need to avoid, Kevin. We were talking a little bit about that earlier. You know, the kids got all the kids have a little bit of nerves in them, and you know, you look at that young man. That's not discipline, break of discipline, or any of that gitchy nonsense. There's a kid that wanted to make a play and made a small mistake, and he won't do it again.
So fresh set of downs now for Kellenberg. A flag right as the play started. A fumble, and diving on it for St. John's. It was Christopher Trinka. We'll see if it stands.
And I'll tell you what, if that stands, it was Chris Trinka who just jumped off sides. And look at what Chris Trinka's doing right now.
We'll see what the call is. It was right as the ball was snapped. So you imagine some sort of offsides here. St. John defense is running off the field.
I'm not rooting for either team, but you just got to love it when a young man gets a chance to redeem himself and come up with a big play like that.
Absolutely. Still a conference here between the officials. And when they talk for this long, you almost wonder if the flag is going to stand or not. But we'll see here.
Well, this one's going against the defense. We got an encroachment call. So they're going to walk that one back. I mean, great news for the Firebirds. That's pretty rough on the Cougars right there. But to your point, Kev, you do start to wonder, you know, when you have to talk about a call like encroachment that long, you wonder what it's about. And sometimes it truly is about the chains and some of the logistical stuff.
And now some hysteria kicking in. Phil Alba has gone out there to have a discussion about the flag.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is terrible. You've never seen Coach Kevin Dolan scream at referees before. And, you know, these guys, they got feelings. And just terrible, terrible behavior. I don't condone that.
Phil heads back over to the sideline. And we get the whistle. Clock picks up again. Or the game picks up again, excuse me. 3-0 to score. Kellenberg still on their opening drive here of homecoming.
You know, while we have a moment here, speaking of refs, I'm sitting next to the great Pat Wren, is our timekeeper today. 50 years.
Excuse us for the technical difficulties there for a moment, but back up now.
And like everything with me and Pat Wren, I got cut short. But, Pat, I just want to take a moment to salute you for your service and all these referees for the work that they do, and we could not play great games like this without you.
Kellenberg getting a play call changed, little audible in from the sideline. You see Dan Licari relay it to his offensive line, gets the snap now, drops back. He's going to step up looking to run, then throws. Pass is complete, fighting through contact and continuing, running men over is the big target, Ryan Kuntz.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. And you know what? What always surprises me, you talk about you coach quarterbacks to step up in the pocket, reset your feet. For those of you out there that think that's easy, I'd like to see you try it. Great, great job by Dan Licari of finding Ryan open on that edge.
There's the handoff. And a bunch of white jerseys in there to stop the back. And the first one for St. John's was Aiden McLaughlin.
Beautiful job right there. And, you know, you saw both teams do this. You saw Kellenberg doing it in the red zone down there. One team gets a big play, a defense steps up and responds back. Kevin, our first game together, Kevin on Kevin, this one's going to be a barn burner.
Absolutely. Both teams bringing it early, and we'll see if Kellenberg has what it takes to put the game's first touchdown in. Play action, rolling left, complete towards the sideline, making the catch. John Hastings, his second of the drive. It's good for a first down. And that's one of those plays, just the nuances of this offense, where you see Licari, what looks like traditional play action, is that run-pass option where he can give that handoff. He makes the right decision, rolls out left, and makes a nice throw on the move.
And that's what's so critical. I mean, he's doing that in a window of 2 seconds, less than that.
There's the handoff. That's a productive first down rush for Brendan Barkley.
I really like what Coach McDermott is doing right here. You know, he's having his big success throwing the ball, but they're not giving up on the run game. Running against this big St. John's defensive line and linebacking crew, it's not going to be easy, but he's sticking with the game plan.
And so far, this script feels like it's doing a nice job of slowing the game down for his quarterback and entire offense. And they'll give a quick handoff, a flag in the backfield, but it's a first down rush for Jaden McLeod.
See a jet sweep right there. You know, jet sweep it's a tough play to run. There's a lot of timing involved. The yield for it, if you hit it right, is huge. The problem with the jet sweep at times is you got defenders are turning their backs. Everybody's doing a 180. And sometimes you get somebody will get their hands on a person's back, or heaven forbid, they may even clip them. And it's going to cost you some yards.
So you'll replay the down here, but the first down rush will be negated. 4 minutes and 10 seconds to play here in the opening quarter. Kellenberg starts up at the 41-yard line, far side on the right hash. They fake the sweep this time. Throw left side is caught, and that'll get him some of those yards back. The completion, once again, to the big man, Ryan Kuntz.
Really interesting play called right there by Coach McDermott. That's a new wrinkle. I've seen a lot of stuff out here, and I haven't seen that type of a pass play off the jet sweep. Usually the stuff is vertical. A lot of kudos to Dan Licari, because running a play like that is a lot of moving parts.
And that tells you what they think of the quarterback when they run these plays, and you see them adding the complexities to their offense that you don't really see on the high school football scene.
Oh, the only thing I'm seeing right here from Jim McDermott and James Alba is complete trust. They've got complete trust in these boys that they can call the play. And you know what? Trust runs both directions. Talk about people doing things right.
High snap, Licari handles it, but he just has to try to run up the middle, and forward progress will halt him. Good job by St. John's, and now a big down coming up. It'll be 3rd and 9 for the Firebirds offense.
You know, the hope on that play that Kellenberg was going to be able to get C.J. Kiernan, outside linebacker for St. John the Baptist, to follow that jet sweep outside. And he hung home. He read that very quickly. He hung home, and it left 2 blockers on 1.
You've been in high school football for decades now, not only as a coach, but as a player. And you have to admit the evolution of offense at this level, the motion that's been used, the play action, is unbelievable.
I couldn't have even dreamed of this stuff. And you know what? I constantly say, man, if I was this smart 20 years ago, I'd have a shelf full of trophies. But that goes for everybody.
Nice punt.
Wow.
As they're going to pin him down at the 7. That was a real beauty from Ryan Kuntz. So we see him in the receiving game. Now we see him in the punting game, impacting 2 phases.
Wow, that was absolutely tremendous. And you know what? Again, we talked about this earlier with Coach Alba going for that field goal, getting the 3 points. Same thing goes right now for Coach Micey. Coach Micey in punting at the right moment. Field position. Don't mess around with field position. It's critical, especially this early in the game.
And another wrinkle of what you were talking about earlier with the aggressiveness on fourth downs has been when you're in the opposing team's territory but closer to midfield and you have fourth and long, a lot of teams are opting to try and go for it now, but the punt, obviously the right play there, works out. Here's a nice run for Scott. He's going to get the first down off the QB draw. That's about a 16-yard gain.
And, Kevin, I just don't understand it. I get it when you're coaching NFL players. I suppose I get it if you're the head coach at Alabama. But when you're dealing with young people, when you're dealing with kids that get this is their last opportunity to play football, why would we as coaches want to mess around with that too much?
Maurice Scott will hand it off left side, and a group of tacklers are there to take down Purser after about 5 yards.
Really great run by Kalen right there. And if you notice on that last play, the Firebirds are doing a great job of not only team tackling, but they're ripping away at the football. And, that's obviously something Kalen needs to pay special attention to. His ball security on that play was outstanding.
And I feel some of these punch-out attempts up here. You got to imagine Kalen's feeling them down there, and he's going to hold on extra tight. Little motion before the snap. They go to Purser, and he's met at the line of scrimmage by an absolute force in Chris Bondi.
That is one big defensive tackle. Oh, man. Chris came down off that block and used every ounce of his body weight to make that play. Beautiful play.
When I was asking Coach Micey to identify that impact player defensively for me, he literally had to wait 5 or 6 minutes before giving me one name, which is just a testament to the guys on this defense. And Chris Bondi was one of the guys that came up as an absolute disruptor on the defensive line. There's a good try, but an incompletion as Purser was the intended target. Scott put it a little too high under pressure.
If you're into sports cliches, well, here's one for you folks. Linebackers make tackles. Defensive linemen make tackles for loss. If you're not accounting for those kids, and if you're not accounting for a machine like Chris Bondi, it's going to be a windy day in Uniondale.
And you just see it when they line up here. Big 75 over the middle. That is a force.
I'll tell you, it looks like Mom kills a deer and throws it in his room for dinner at night. He is a big, big kid.
Fourth down now. Some theatrics creatively from St. John's and a timeout. Wisely called, I think, by Eric Micey to make sure his team doesn't jump off sides there.
What I loved about that play the most, Kevin, is the kid that jumped in at quarterback was Brandon Maloney, veteran defensive lineman for St. John the Baptist. He does have some offensive roles in the past. He's been a starter on both sides of the ball in the past. Brandon's going to Cortland State University. That's where I went to school. What a great place to go to school. Great place to play football. And it's no doubt that they put him in there to take that exchange.
We'll see what they do now if they try to push something still in the punt formation. But it was a unique look to try and draw Kellenberg off, try and get a new set of downs on 4th and 2, but deep in your own territory. Last thing you want to do is give Kellenberg the ball at the 30-yard line.
And it was a great scheme. I jumped out of my chair when they made that shift.
Here's the punt. It lands and rolls to the 32-yard line. That's where the Firebirds will set up shop with 7 seconds to play in the opening quarter.
Firebirds take over on the 32.
Great job on that punt, too. Sometimes it's great to see those spiraling punts that are up there forever and have that beautiful bounce. But he drove that ball, and that's exactly what St. John's needed. They needed to turn this field around and give Kellenberg as long a field as possible.
Now Kellenberg starts this drive with just 7 seconds to go. You'd imagine this is the final play of the opening quarter. A 3-0 game. St. John the Baptist was able to score on their opening drive on the back of 2 big runs from Kalen Purser. And now we'll see if Kellenberg can get their first points of the day on this drive. The first play of it, they will draw a man offsides. Another encroachment penalty looming for the Cougars.
Yeah, it's something that the Cougars have to shake right now. I've seen this before. Again, it's not a discipline thing. It's not players who don't care or any of that nonsense. They got a lot going on in their heads right now. They need to take a breath and focus. Can't give the Firebirds 5 yards.
Here's the snap screen, left side, caught and taken for 3 yards. They're going to need about another 2 on the reception. John Hastings, his 3rd of the afternoon in just the first quarter. And we'll see what the Firebirds have in store for us in the second quarter when we come back. It's 3-0 St. John here from Kellenberg Memorial. It's homecoming for the Firebirds. We'll see if they respond with a score on this drive. We'll be right back on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
And it's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Back live, second quarter action. And another jump on the side of the Cougars. You got to credit the hard count from Kellenberg and Dan Licari.
It's hard to lay off. It really is hard to lay off. And, they got to get, like I said earlier, they got to get this part figured out. This is really, really important.
And it's tough, too. You've mentioned it a bunch of times, but you spend all week as a kid thinking about this game, getting ready to go make a play on that defensive line, and that hard count can get you just because you got good intentions and you're trying to help your team out.
You can even see it in the body language of our line judge, Mr. Keenan. You almost like you don't want to throw the flag. You don't want to be as officials that involved in the game.
There's a completion to the back. Jaden McLeod came out of the backfield, caught it in the flats, and takes it up just short of the sticks.
Really like what Dan Licari and through Coach McDermott, of course, is doing here. One of the things I used to tell quarterbacks is take what God gives you. Open up your eyes, look at those windows, and throw to the open kid. And that's what he's doing. He's not getting greedy. He's being patient.
That handoff up the middle is going to be good for a first down. Once again, take it, Jaden McLeod, so he gets that first down on his own.
That's a first down, Firebird.
Beautiful, beautiful play right there. Great job of running. Great job of blocking by Danny Clark. Danny Clark, another behemoth out here that we're seeing on this field. Plays left guard for the Firebirds, and just a wonderful job by him.
And up the middle, Luca DeCicco does a great job at center. It's a really good group of linemen. They're trying to establish a running game here early. That handoff is a fumble. It's on the ground. No, actually, scooping it up was the Cougars, but a whistle just rule them down. But that's going to be St. John's ball, so a promising drive halted on that handoff.
Wow, what a big play for the Cougars. It just was a difficult time at the exchange. And Cougars get it up. They were looking for that scoop and score, but they'll take possession anyway.
So So St. John gets a big one. On the recovery there was Dominic Witt, senior, who does a good job jumping on that handoff.
Very, very interesting, Kevin, how on that last big drive, the first big drive by Kellenberg, they were getting chunk plays, moving the ball, and St. John's around the 35-yard line tightened up. Now we get down for another big drive by Kellenberg, get to that 37-yard line, and the Cougars tighten up.
And this is a big momentum drive both ways here. A deep ball from Scott to the sideline, almost pulled in. And how about the coverage? Stride for stride was Gabe Alfaro for Kellenberg. The intended target was Kevin Peters.
You know, great idea by James Alba. You know, it's on page 3 of the offensive coordinator manual. After a turnover, go for that big play. And that's exactly what James did and put a lot of pressure on the Firebirds. But, boy, the Firebirds came up big back there.
One defender back on that play. Gabe Alfaro was all alone. He got the job done. Scott hands it off right side. Purser takes it for about 6.5, 7 yards and down. So a big 3rd down and 3, a long 3 yards coming up for the Cougars.
Great play by Kalen right there, turning the corner. Great job by the offensive line, is zoning into the boundary. You know, Kellenberg is short a man to the boundary. They're defending the field, and they have a lot of reasons why they need to do that. Problem for Kalen, though, is that on those outside zones, you do run out of room. And love that job of getting 7 yards.
Now a big 3rd and 3 is on the slate for St. John the Baptist. Scott in the shotgun to his left. Kalen again, he goes play action, throws it high. It's incomplete. Good defense again. The intended target for the second time this drive, Kevin Peters, but Kellenberg's defense too good. And now is it decision time for Coach Alba?
Well, you know, I mean, everybody on the Cougars sidelines yelling for pass interference or holding, and I do get that. I have seen in high school football, though, the officials are having a much higher tolerance for some of the contact, and I love it. I love it because it allows the kids to play. It allows the kids to play, and no official and no coach wants the game decided on technicalities, penalties. They want to let the kids play. I think that was a great no call.
We'll see if they actually go for it here, or if they're just trying to draw Kellenberg off sides. Scott's in the shotgun to his left. It's Kalen Purser. He's been the real engine for this offense, not only today, but in the early season. Scott gets the snap. They will go. Handoff back outside to Purser. He hops in for the first down, an impressive 7-yard rush.
Well, so much for everything I said earlier, you know, about being a Detroit Lion. Great, great play. Gutsy play by the Cougars. And once again, Kalen Purser has come to play today. How he gets out of those tackles, I don't know. He must be coated in Crisco or something, man. He just keeps those legs chugging and does some great stuff.
A big first down now coming up as they can breathe after the 4th down conversion. Scott's going to take it left on the keep. Picks up maybe 2 yards. Kellenberg defenders were all over it. It starts with Christian Antwine, who was the first guy in.
Tackled by number 22, Brendan Barkley.
This is, you know, another interesting example of what's been happening in this game. Now the Cougars get the challenge. Both teams have gone on drives to either end the drive or give the ball away. Let's see if they can keep this focus going.
Purser breaks a tackle in the backfield, and he's going to get 4 yards. That's a really impressive gain for Purser, who looked like he was going to get lit up for a loss of 1. He'll check out of the game for a moment.
What a finish by Anthony Cabrera. A real big lineman for Kellenberg. He's on his pursuit. Watch this. Boom. Every ounce of his body goes into that body tackle. Legal. Well done. Kalen, no stranger to those collisions, though.
Another big 3rd down coming up. Purser is not on the field, so they'll keep it with Scott. He's short. hardly got past the line of scrimmage. And another big 4th down now. You wonder if Alba just keeps rolling the dice since he already did it once.
Well, the last time they did it was 22 yards ago. No reason for them not to, I would think. It's hard when Kalen's not on the field because I love the play call, quarterback counter. But when Kalen's not there, now the defense can focus on the remaining player that's left. And that's a tough one right there for Maurice.
Scott is back out there in the shotgun to his right, lined up at running back. Jamad Jackson will motion out left. Jabs left. Scott takes it up the middle and even further. Inside the 20 to the 12-yard line where he's finally taken down. A huge chunk on 4th and short.
I'd love to see that again because I'd love to see what some of these offensive linemen are doing up there. I mean, that was a Kevin Dolan runs through that hole. That was a huge hole right there.
We'll take another look
Here
right
we
now.
go. Whoa, look at those big boys running. That's quarterback counter from a little bit earlier, but they did it off the jet sweep to get people looking 2 different ways. Love the play call. Love the execution.
Scott hands it off left side. Purser back in the game. Cuts it up the middle. Broke a tackle and got taken down after about 4 yards.
Now for Kalen, and I watched the performance by Josh Kama last week. For Kalen, that's next level football. You saw some beautiful footwork right there. He stopped on a dime, and then he was at full speed on his next step. Really, really veteran football player. Look at this. Stop, and there's his turn. Beautiful cut.
He has been a thorn in the side of this Kellenberg defense, which has played really well so far today. Looking to avoid giving up the game's first touchdown, though, as we approach 7 minutes to play in the opening half. Scott moves Purser from right to left. Gets the snap, hands it off. Purser up the middle, taken down short of the goal line at about the 2-yard line. An interesting play call coming up on 3rd down for James Alba.
I want to point something out, too, about Kalen. It was only 4 plays ago that Anthony Cabrera hit him with everything but the press box. And that was unbelievable. And here he is right now. He's huffing and puffing a little bit. He should be with the performance he's putting on. But he's playing great football.
He sees the light at the end of the tunnel, and it is 3 yards away. The handoff for Purser. St. John's loses a handoff of their own. Kellenberg's on it. It's a turnover at the goal line.
Oh, man.
Right number 40, Anthony Napoli.
Oh, man. I am working this game right now with 2 senior men in the press box. I'm going to be asking them for an Alka-Seltzer in just a moment. This is unbelievable. Unbelievable situation. And, for the Kellenberg defense, which was you don't bend, there was no much more to bend. That's called resilience. Great, great job, and my hat's off to Anthony Napoli.
Anthony Napoli dives on that fumble, but now 95 yards to go for a touchdown for Kellenberg. We'll see how they start it, and it's with a rush up the middle to give them a little bit of breathing room. They got about 2.5 yards.
So interesting, Kevin, with all the big numbers that both offenses have actually been putting on the board today. We've seen a lot of really good offense today. The only numbers that count right now, it's 3-0. And you go back to that decision by Coach Alba to kick that field goal. He's not going to regret that.
Jet sweep, taking it around with room to the outside. Finally wrapped up and tackled was Jaden McLeod. It'll be a first down, and now an exhale for the Kellenberg offense.
Yeah, you talk about Coach Micey can now breathe a little bit. It's so great to have that turnover. But when you're backed up to your own end zone, look at this run. What a great job by Jaden McLeod. Very aggressive runner.
Hand it off again that time. Brendan Barkley will be stopped at the line of scrimmage. And I believe first in for St. John's was Jordan Redding, defensive end, a junior.
toughest thing to do in football, all the skills, is open field tackle. And that was a textbook example of how to open field tackle.
Lakari looks to his sideline. Jim McDermott gives him a new signal. He'll relay it back to his offense. He gets the snap. Looks to his right. Fires. That's caught. Out to about the 26-yard line. Positive gain for Brandon McCabe, a production reception.
I love that kind of football. It's simple. It's taking what God gives you. Grab those yards. Great ball security. We now have possession. Outstanding job.
4:13 to play in the second quarter. Kellenberg still looking for their first points on this homecoming Saturday. A handoff, a flag down. It's going to be enough for a first down, but I think this one's going to be coming back. It is.
And this is the problem, Kev. You know, for both teams, they do 4, 5, 6, 7 great things, and then the wheels come off the bus. You know, it's part of growing up in the game. It's part of growing up in the game. It's part of growing up as a competitor, and the boys are learning right now.
Just takes a mental toll on you offensively when you have these good drives, these good plays. You feel like you're really working towards something, and so many minor mistakes just halting all of that progress.
And you hit it right on the head, Kevin. It's a mental drain. I mean, I'm up here having fun and talking all about it. Not one person has hit me yet.
Throw left side is a high pass on the screen, but caught, and a lot of room to run down to the 37-yard line. They get those yards back from the penalty, and about 6 more of first down now on a big completion for Kellenberg.
Coach McDermott's playbook for screens probably has about 70 pages in it. He runs screens in 10 million different ways. That one happened to be called the tunnel screen. Beautifully executed.
That was Ryan Kuntz with a good reception, and now dropping back again. Lakari throws left side. It's incomplete. Intended receiver was Jaden McLeod, the running back.
You know, the Firebirds are testing the Cougar defense right now. They're poking, and they're throwing just enough to see if St. John's will change their defensive front or attitude. Attitude meaning their stunt packages and things like that. And you know what? St. John's is going to play it. They're staying with what they've been doing. This too high shell, little bit of a mixing up, as you see here, with some disguising some man-to-man.
Lakari drops back. He's going to roll right. Looking to throw. Puts one up the sideline. Nearly caught by Brandon McCabe, but it's incomplete, and now it'll bring up 3rd down and 10 for the Firebirds.
And of all the great things Danny has done today, I think, win or lose this game, doesn't really matter. When Danny's looking at this on huddle, he's going to say to himself, gosh darn it, I should have ran that one. I had some room. I probably should have ran that one. And I think he'll see that on the sideline on his tablet.
Kari steps back into the shotgun for this big 3rd and 10 in their own territory. We're going to get a timeout for St. John's. Cougars head coach Phil Alba is going to take one, talk things over. Phil runs this defense, so you wonder if he saw something pre-snap there that he wanted adjusted.
And it's a great time to take it. You know, you don't get any points by taking timeouts to bed with you at night. Earlier I said the only numbers on this board besides the time is 3-0. And Coach Albin knows he needs to maintain that going into the second half.
What's the message in the huddle right now if you're Kellenberg, you're Coach Micey, Coach McDermott? Still a 0 on the scoreboard. Big 3rd and 10 coming up. What are you saying to the team?
Keep doing your thing. Be prepared for 2 plays here. Be prepared for it. But concentrate on this one. The only thing that's important in your life is the snap that's happening right now. It's an old West Point saying. They tell it to tank commanders. And I would tell it to Danny right now. And you know what? I don't think Danny needs any encouragement to understand about what's important. This kid is really leading this offense today.
He steps back in now. This would be a massive conversion on 3rd and 10 with 3:13 to play in the first half. Kari gets the snap, drops back, looks left, throws it to his running back, and that's going to bring up about 4th and 1, the completion to Jaden McLeod, and a great tackle made for St. John.
This is what I meant, Kevin, and I smashed the crystal ball about 10 years ago, but, be ready for 2 plays.
Kellenberg worked right back up to the line of scrimmage. I think they wanted to get something off quick. Coach Alba is going to call a timeout and try and get his defense settled for a huge 4th and 1.
Well, you know what? The biggest demon that the Cougars are facing right now on this situation is themselves. What's been one of Kellenberg's best plays against Cougars? The hard count. And they've got to lay off. They don't give it away. Make the Firebirds earn it.
One of the nuances and real benefits of that hard count is when you can develop it early in a game, you get to this 4th and 1, and now that line's afraid to jump out there and try and stuff a run. So you're going to get a much softer defensive front from St. John's, or if they're going to come out just as aggressive, you might win the hard count again.
For the Cougars, it's a voice in their head right now. Taken from a guy who has a lot of voices in his head, they're hearing it right now. They're saying to themselves, don't go off sides, don't go off sides, don't go off sides. When really what they need to be saying is, do my job, stop this play. But it's hard. It's so hard.
Unique formation right now for Kellenberg. They're going to take it right up the middle off the snap, and it gets them enough. It was a direct snap to Jaden McLeod. He takes it right side for the first.
And in all fairness, it was a great play by St. John's, not only number 32, Chris Trinka, but who was this Brandon Maloney. Great play by Brandon. Hopefully, the pile landed on him. I'm saying a little prayer here that hopefully Brandon just had the wind knocked out of him. Because even though they gave up the first down there, they did exactly what they needed to do. They played great defense, didn't jump off sides. Really well done by both teams.
That is Brandon Maloney down at the logo. He was the first guy there. But we see once again on that 4th down some good creativity and just a different look from Jim McDermott. He actually takes the ball out of Dan Licari's hands. Licari not really a guy that you're going to force to run in that 4th and short, and I like just being blunt and direct with it. Let's get it to Jaden McLeod. We want it to him. He's going to be the first and only guy that touches it after it's snapped.
Whether it was Eric Meisey or Kevin Hannafin, a longtime famous previous coach at the Kellenberg Firebirds, I've had a lot of games with them. They've gone both ways. Some blowouts both ways, some really tight both ways. The one thing about Kellenberg is they never lack creativity. And, there are times as a defensive coach where you're saying to yourself, man, where's that 4th and 5th timeout that I need?
And the great news right now is that Brandon Maloney got up and walked under his own power to the sideline. A really nice sign after he was down for 2 or 3 minutes there.
None of this means anything. Playoffs, championships, trophies. If the kids are getting hurt, you want the kids to be healthy.
Play action. So roll out right, throw behind his receiver. Almost a great catch made, but it looked like the ground popped it up. A really tough grab and a great try by John Hastings.
Beautiful, beautiful look and pass by Dan. And for John had no options. He had to do a bunch of gymnastics to try to bring that one in. Beautiful play, beautiful effort.
And that was a throw that maybe looks behind the receiver, but it's definitely not an error. He was throwing it where it had to be, and that was where you had to try to make a play. A really good try on the connection from Licari to Hastings, and they've been great so far in this first half. I'm sure there's plenty more between the two of them today.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
2nd down and 10 now, under 2.5 minutes to play. Here's a handoff, breaking the first tackle and fumbling. Ball is going to be dove on, and it's the 3rd turnover of the 2nd quarter combined in this game, all 3 on fumbles. That was Barkley with the carry, and diving on top of that one, I believe for St. John's was, let me get a quick check on it.
Dominic Witt.
Dominic Witt again.
Yep. Watch this. Great job. Oh, big punch right there. Big punch. There's Dominic crawling across the turf and comes up with that play. Outstanding.
And Dominic doesn't make the actual tackle on that play, but he's there first. The initial contact disrupts what could have been a really nice run. And that, of course, plays into the fumble. Kept his head on a swivel. A lot of guys go down after not being able to bring down the runner on that first contact and decide their play is done. Not right there. Dominic stays with it, keeps his head up, and dives on that loose ball. 2:18 to play now. The Cougars take the field on offense again. Stepping in is Maurice Scott. They're looking for their first touchdown. Scott rolls out right. Flag on the play. This throw is incomplete. And another flag in the secondary. You might get one both ways here. Referees will have a quick chat about it.
So it's 2 separate calls on here. We got a hold on the Cougars. And we're gonna do that one over again, Kevin.
So the initial call, the first one on the play, was the hold just about the same time that Maurice Scott was rolling out, and the defender a little early with the contact in the secondary. The penalty's offset, and we'll do it again.
Tell you, I really appreciate Coach Mr. Hart and his crew here. I mean, they're throwing flags that they have to throw, but they're staying out of this game. They're letting the kids play this one out.
That's going to be a no gain for St. John the Baptist. And Scott kept it up the middle. See what James Alba has here as the clock continues to tick down. A minute 40. The bare minimum right now with a minute 40, coaches, you're trying to keep the lead going into the half, right?
You are. But you know what? Kellenberg has done some awesome things on offense, but they haven't had the big plays. So I'm not surprised if Cougars decide to go upstairs here.
Quick screen play. A lot of blue jerseys are there to stop it, but not before about a 5-yard gain for Kalen Purser, showing you what he can do a little bit as a receiver.
Very manageable situation here for the Cougars. The clock is stopped. They got himself out of bounds. You know, they might be able to put themselves with this big kicker of theirs into another 3 points. And you know what? Coach Alba, I wonder if he's thinking that way.
It's the snap. Scott will take it left side. Puts the head down and gets taken down. They get just inside the 40. So not enough for a first, but once again, another decision to be made for Coach Alba. Timeout called. Kellenberg, second taken. That's wisely taken by Eric Meisey, trying to get yourself the ball back with a chance to get yourself into field goal range or beyond. Reminder, the Firebirds do get the ball after the half, which certainly plays into the mindset of each coach here.
Oh, absolutely. And you know what? Going back to Coach Alba and this huge leg that he has in his kicker and Jaden, this one's a little far. I don't want to get crazy here, but the nice thing about high school football is when you've got a kid with a strong leg, if he kicks it into the end zone and it comes up short, it only comes out to the 20. So there's not a lot to be lost. I would take a shot at this. You don't need it all. You need the first down, and then see how it goes.
Looks like you have the punt team out there led by Carter Krug, who is the punter.
Kevin, I don't believe him. I think we're going to see some trickery here.
Snap to Krug, and they do end up punting it.
It shows you what I know.
Rolling to the goal line,
Oh.
and just in for a touchback. Another really nice punt from Krug, but this time it'll be a touchback. Kellenberg will get it with a chance now to go downfield. 48 seconds left, 1 timeout remaining for the Firebirds.
And to be clear, Kevin, there's, in my mind, there's nothing wrong with that call. That's prudent football to actually punt that ball. Only thing I was thinking about is that big leg on Jaden. Would they want to try to grab an extra 3 points?
If you're Coach McDermott here calling the plays, are you trying to take a shot here early right now, get yourself downfield and really go for it?
Absolutely. Especially on the first 2 downs. The Cougars are out of timeouts.
They go to another creative screen, but it's incomplete. Ryan Kuntz had the head up before he was able to secure that ball. A tough drop for a kid who's having an awesome, awesome first half.
And to your point, Kevin, that was a huge run fake that you had. Then they stepped back and threw the screen. Really creative stuff.
And credit to St. John's, what's been a really well-called game and, for the most part, well executed for Kellenberg. Still, the result is 0 on the scoreboard with 1:10 to play, or less, 43 seconds to play in this first half.
All right. This is that quarterback power, quarterback sweep formation.
Kari throws left side. They're going to go back to the well with that same play, and it's a big gainer out to the 35, so 15 yards picked up for Ryan Kuntz. It didn't work out the first time for them, so they go to it again and have success.
Okay, clock stops to move the chains, so that helps the Firebirds here. It's winding now, down to 30 seconds.
Snap, another play fake. Bakari rolls out. He's going to try to run, looking for the sideline. He fumbled out of bounds, but either way, it's about a 9-yard gain.
Well played by Dan right there. Really well played. The problem for the Firebirds is it took a lot of time.
19 seconds to go now in the first half. Reminder, 1 timeout still with the Firebirds. Little chat here between officials.
That's a Firebird first down.
And they're going to give them the first down. Again, 19 seconds, 1 timeout left for Kellenberg.
It's enough for 3 plays, but they got to be sharp. And that would include a field goal attempt.
Carrying the pistol, and he fumbles. 13 seconds. We do get the timeout used from Coach Micey. That's an unfortunate play right there for Kellenberg on another drive that looked like it had some promise.
They're having some trouble, and that you saw that on the last fumble that they lost. They're having some trouble with the RPO mesh, and they're having some trouble with the fake. There was no way that was an RPO mesh. That was a pure fake. In the ball security aspect of it. And, you know, it's something that they've got to talk about at halftime. It might even be something they take a ball inside with them and rep it out just a little bit, just to try to figure out what the mechanical problem is.
You've been in this situation before. You've been in every scenario. I think Coach Micey there, he took 3 seconds before he used that timeout. Do you think there was a thought of, let's just get into the locker room here?
Yeah, let's make sure that this is the last play or two of the half, and I don't leave too much time on for something. You know what? I think what Eric Micey's saying to himself, too, is my kids are doing so many things that are great, but we do need to regroup a little bit. We need to breathe. We need to regroup. We need to coach them up. And it was a great move by him right there.
It's a drop back. Macari steps up, throws left side, and that will surely end the half. The completion to Ryan Kuntz was for about 5 yards, and that'll end the half. 3-0 is the score. The Cougars scored on their opening drive, and then never again. Kellenberg held to nothing here through the first half of homecoming at Kellenberg Memorial. They'll get the ball when we come back. Once again, St. John versus Kellenberg here on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
What's up? This is Sean Lights Out Merriman, former Charger and Bill, and you're watching Varsity Media.
Long live the morning routine. Long live friendly competition. Long live cozy nights at home. And long live healthcare that works with your life. Access to great doctors, simple mobile app, convenient locations across Long Island. Absolutely. You have options, but at Catholic Health, we'd like to remind you to choose you first, because we did too. Long live you, and long live Long Island.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
At St. Francis Heart Center, we're not just regional heart experts. We share our greater success with the world. We don't just pioneer technology. We do it more than anywhere on Greater Long Island. And we don't just win awards. We deliver greater outcomes for people like you. As New York's only specialty designated cardiac center, we're not satisfied with just being good. This is Long Island. This is St. Francis Heart Center. And greater lives here.
High school sports fans, Varsity Media is the exclusive live stream partner of Nassau County Championships. To live stream fall, winter, and spring championship events, head to varsitymediapass.com to order. Now accessible on smart TVs. Varsity Media is your home for the Nassau County Championships. Hey parents, coaches, and players. Ever wonder what makes Varsity Media stand out as the tri-state leader in sports live streaming and videography?
If you're looking to optimize your sporting event, look no further than Varsity Media's coverage. Since working with them over the course of the past 4 years through the Elite 5 New York City Football Showcase, their coverage has helped take us to the top.
Varsity Media does an unbelievable job in terms of the broadcast, backgrounds on kids, do a great job of exposure from top to bottom. I couldn't really say anything negative. It's been a great couple of years that we've been working together, and it's just fantastic.
Well, I'll tell you, the fact that you guys are here has helped grow it, really. I mean, Varsity Media has been a good partner with us now for the last couple of years. That brings this game to a much broader audience.
The level of detail and that you go to, I mean, obviously the announcers, the camera angles, the slow motions, I mean, you feel like it's being covered by, ESPN.
If you'd like to book with Varsity Media, reach out at 516-403-2050 or email ben@varsitymedia.net. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel for upcoming schedules and content, and on social media at Varsity Media.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves. You've seen the dedication, the long hours, the early mornings, the sacrifice. You know your athlete has what it takes, but how do you make sure the right people see it? The recruiting process isn't easy. Coaches are flooded with highlights, but how do you stand out in the crowd? At Varsity Media, we specialize in creating game-changing ISO videos, high-definition, athlete-focused footage that highlights exactly what college recruiters want to see. With our up-close ISO video, we capture your athletes' key moments. No more wide angles showing other players. This is just your athlete's pure, raw talent. This is more than a video. This is the opportunity your athlete deserves. Give your athlete the edge they need. Make the right impression with Varsity Media's ISO video service. The future starts now. Parents, your support means everything to your athletes and to us at Varsity Media. To help us continue bringing you the best YouTube coverage of high school sports on Long Island, we invite business owners to consider a sponsorship on our broadcasts. If you own a business, consider a sponsorship for your athlete's team. It's a great way to show support, gain visibility, and keep the coverage going strong. Join us in making a difference. Contact Varsity Media today to learn more about broadcast sponsorship opportunities by emailing ben@varsitymedia.net. Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
And it's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City!
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's get your team the recognition it deserves.
Hi, I'm Katie Ledecky. As an Olympic athlete, you might think staying healthy is easy for me. Truth is, we all face challenges. Keeping the right mindset is how we achieve our best personal performance. At Catholic Health, the same focus on wellness and prevention that I follow every day is the way they think too. That's why I'm teaming up with Catholic Health to help make healthcare even more positive, proactive, and personal for every person across Long Island. Long live you, and long live Long Island.
You're watching the Varsity Media Sports Network, the home for New York high school sports.
Memorial High on a beautiful Saturday afternoon where it's Firebirds homecoming, and you see the alumni up there. A great group and a great community to rally around this school of fans, parents, players, coaches, everything. Once again, we appreciate you joining us this afternoon on the Varsity Media Sports Network. I'm Kevin Bunk, joined by my partner Kevin Dolan today, former Chaminade head coach. And Kevin, we spoke about it earlier in the game, but how special are these Saturday afternoons?
Oh, they're absolutely special. I mean, you know, when I was coaching at Chaminade, we'd be talking sports with the kids, and the kids would say to me sometimes, and I loved hearing it, Coach, lacrosse is my game. It's what's getting me into some of these great schools and all of that awesome stuff. They go, but football comes around once a year, and I just can't wait for it. The camaraderie, the memories, and that's what these boys are building right now. And you look at that overhang over here at Kellenberg. I was just chatting with some folks in the crowd. This is the first day they're opening that up. And what a beautiful setup up there to have alumni come back, enjoy some food and drink, and really enjoy the game.
I had went over into that building before the game, used the bathroom, but then you take a little peek around. Things are nice, and it's a beautiful building. It looks like it's pretty fresh in terms of new inside and outside right there. You see a gorgeous place to watch the game. But let's talk about this first half here, which yielded only 3 points. It was St. John's coming out on the opening drive. 2 really big plays. The biggest play of the game ran them down into the red zone. They didn't go much further after that. They end up with a field goal, and we've had no scoring since. What did you see both ways in this first half?
There's one theme to this game, and again, unfortunately it's a negative, and that's turnovers. And both coaches are going to bed at night. One of them sleeping a little bit sounder than the other. But what's going to be going through their minds is turnovers. It's games like this that make old coaches like me buy hair color. Because it's nobody wants them, nobody expects them, but here they are. And it just flips the games around. And sometimes it flips your emotions around as well.
An interesting storyline that we didn't discuss in the beginning of this game, but I think is prevalent now. Coach Phil Alba for the Cougars told me, we're having a lot of trouble defending the deep ball this year. We feel great about the run. We feel great about playing the underneath game. But when it comes to the deep ball, we're really struggling with it. We saw it last week. They blew a 21-point lead and lost because of big plays in the passing game. But today, Kellenberg hasn't really even tried to go there, and they haven't been able to. You think that's more of a plan by Jim McDermott? Credit to Phil Alba and his staff and his defense? A little bit of both? What do you see?
I think more of it is about Coach McDermott. I think Coach McDermott, and this is not a critique of not throwing more deep balls, Coach McDermott knows what his team does well. And in a 3-0 game, he's going to stick to the 24 things that he knows his offense does well. And that may not be the deep ball right now. He may be saying, I want the ball control. I want to keep moving the chains, which they've been doing. Unfortunately, you take away the turnovers, and one of these teams is up by 2 scores right now. I think in terms of the Cougars in defending the ball, the only thing I disagree with Coach Alba is that it's really not scheme when you have trouble. When you have great coaches like he does, it's really not about scheme. It's more about the one-on-one matchups. And there's not a lot about you can do about that. You got to dance with the girl you brought. And you know, Kellenberg hasn't gotten to that point yet. Will they? Well, we're going to find out in about 46 seconds.
And you know it as well as anybody, but a tough narrative with the deep ball and struggling with it is you could run 65, 70 plays a game, the opposing offense. They connect on 3 deep balls in busted coverage. You say you had a bad day with the deep ball, but maybe 57 other plays went really well. So for Coach Alba today, he's got to like what he's seen so far. But that could change in the second half, too, for Kellenberg.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think this half, I tell you, I'm really enjoying this game. And I'm crowing about it. If somebody would laugh at me saying, what's the score? It's 3-0. This is a really exciting football game we're watching right now.
It's not 3-0 where teams haven't been able to get first downs. This is 3-0 where we've seen multiple trips to the red zone each way, multiple trips past midfield, a lot of fumbles. But if you're Coach Micey and you see the fumble issue in the first half, you're in a locker room of young men who haven't felt that win this year and are trailing 3-0, What's the message to the team, and how do you try to fix those little marginal differences in this game?
Stop doing too much. Some of these fumbles is about running backs. They want to do a lot. They're reaching out to grab the football instead of receiving the football from the quarterback. I mean, this is stuff they know. This is stuff that Coach Micey and this is stuff that Coach Alba have been teaching these kids for years now. Pressure can weigh on you, and pressure can cause people to make those little mistakes that turn out to be big blunders.
So we're a few moments away now from this second half getting started. And listen, it's a 3-0 game, and it's a clean slate for Kellenberg, who, yeah, you're 0-4, but you're focused on this half. You're focused on one play at a time. And what's the difference between being shut out 3-0 and being down 27-24? At the end of the day, it's a 3-0 game, and you have to do what you can do to win this. And I think Coach Micey, Coach McDermott, the staff have the right players and the right mindsets here in this building to be able to make this happen.
Kevin, that's a huge point right there. I absolutely agree. I do think, though, that the huge decisions for Coach Micey are probably about 19 minutes away from now. Right now, I think they should stay with their game plan. I don't know what the stats are, but I think the stats for the Kellenberg offense right now, I think they're pretty good. I would not be shocked to see how good they are. The issue is they got to execute to the end. Great news for the Firebirds. They're receiving the ball this half. Their boys need to look at this right now as 0-0.
This is a really important opening drive for their offense, which I do completely agree with you. And it really goes both ways. You'd think, looking at the scoreboard, both offenses have struggled. Both teams have shown you that they can move the ball and score. We had the fumble at the goal line from St. John's, and we have 3 fumbles in great moving drives from the Firebirds. They just have to finish now, and both teams obviously are capable of doing that.
Oh, you better believe it. You know who you saw on the screen just before? Earlier today, I was crowing about one of our veterans, Mr. Pat Wren. We have Mr. Ron Winchester out there. He's been part of the Officials Association for decades. My guess is closing on 40 years. Ron is an outstanding professional and just a tremendous official.
This kick is fumbled, muff at about the 25-yard line, but they dove right back on it. So Kellenberg will have the ball to start this. They get it at the 25 after a scary start to this half.
Well, it's not the return you want, but you take the return you get. And I think that's how we started this game, Kevin. And it's how we're starting the first half. Not bad field position at all.
We'll see what Dan Licari can do. His offense was shut out in the first half, but they had some really good plays and some foundational drives to take away from it. They hand this off, and it's a solid rush on first down for Brendan Barkley.
Firebird carry by number 22, Brendan Barkley.
Really nice run there. Really great job. You got Christian Jean-Francois and John Kitson starting out the game with huge blocks, opening up a great hole.
Again, a gorgeous 78, maybe 80-degree day here at Kellenberg for this homecoming. Here's a drop-back throw. Right side, great hands at the line of scrimmage. Knocked that one down. It would have been a completion.
Oh, Jordan Redding almost delivered a heartbreaker right there, Kevin.
And you look at this 3-0 score, it's plays like these in critical spots where both defenses have just been able to stop good offenses.
Yes, and that pattern and that play just before, that was pitch and putt to Jaden McLeod. And what a play right there.
3rd down and 6. Kellenberg looking to avoid a 3-and-out to start this second half. Play action, throw left side, tipped a mile high, and now hits the ground. So danger averted as 3 white jerseys were converging to the ball in the air, but 2 deflected passes and a 3-and-out is how the second half will start for Kellenberg.
And it was Jordan Redding again. He must have webbed fingers or something. He can really get some expanse out there. Beautiful job.
And right there on that second play, that was a design screen. Again, we saw so many from Coach McDermott. You wonder if Reading's just starting to pick up and get a feel for when those screens are coming. Good punt fielded at the 37, and good job by Kellenberg covering that one. Awesome work on special teams.
Great tackle by C.J. Kiernan. Really, really wonderful job right there.
Good starting field position for the Cougars. They get a quick huddle with their offensive coordinator, James Alba. I'll be curious to see the usage of Kalen Purser in the second half because we saw him get a little banged up. He had a little bit of a ginger kind of walk to him towards the end of that first half, but he is such a great back. You see him out there right now. Number 5, he'll line up to the right of his quarterback, Maurice Scott. Purser is an absolute X factor for this offense.
I don't think the Alba boys have a choice but to
That's not a timeout Coach Alba wanted to use coming out of this, but he had to.
It must have been critical. I'm not really sure what caused that. It might have been 10 guys on the field, but you're right, Kevin. That was a difficult timeout to have to call. Kevin, going to your point with Kalen Purser Hogue, Kalen, they've got to use this kid this half. Who has been the most consistent offensive player on this field today? And that's Kalen. And, you know, in terms of Kalen, the beating on his body and the heat out there and the pressure and everything else, my instincts are telling me Kalen's an old school warrior. And he was born for situations like this.
We saw it in that first half. He took a big hit on the sideline, hit the ground hard, back in just a few plays later, trying to punch it in. They came up short, but he is definitely a warrior. He steps out there, one of the dirtiest guys on the field right now. That white jersey's got some stains.
Longwood transfer. They've got to be asking themselves, how did we lose this guy?
There's a screen play and a good run after the catch. About a 20-yard gain on first down for St. John's. That was Jordan Redding, I believe, taking that one up the sideline. How about this kid? Total Swiss Army knife for the Cougars.
I wouldn't take him inside. I'd leave him in the car, but I would drive him to the casino. It's good luck with me tonight. This kid is something else. What a last 3 plays.
To your point about Kalen Purser transferring from Longwood, and he was a guy that Coach told me, Phil Alba said, we did not expect to have this great running back when camp started in the summer. When our offseason work started, we knew he'd be on the team, of course, but we did not think we had this great lead back. And here he goes today. There's a handoff and a great tackle made to stop Purser at the line of scrimmage. Who else but Chris Bondi?
It's Chris Bondi, man. He knows how to body tackle. If he weighs, I don't know how much he weighs, but if this young man weighs 250, he uses every single ounce of it. Wow, that'll break your heart.
Second down and 9 coming up.
You know, Longwood and Bayshore, they're not close to each other either. That's a good ride out there. Well, the Cougars are very lucky to have him.
There's a rush from Scott. He takes it left side, lowers the shoulder into a few Kellenberg defenders, and they'll get to about 3rd and 1 here, and they're probably into the range where Coach Alba would try to take a field goal also, but 3rd down and 1, we still have to see the result there.
I love the formation that James Alba puts out there. It's called Diamonds and Spades. That happens to be spades, and it's tight end trips, and it really hangs up the defense. What are you going to defend? The tight end run side or the trip side?
3rd down and 3 here. Maurice Scott gets the snap, hands it off. Purser gets met by about 4 Firebirds, and leading the way, Chris Bondi on a mission starting this second half.
Oh, man. I wish this was one of those food tasting games, you know, wings and steak tidbits, because I'd run an order down to Chris Bondi at the half when this series is over. What a great job by Christopher.
He has been unbelievable.
Excellent play selection by Baptist. They were running counter right there. It was just too hard to get the second blocker out of the blocks.
The offense comes back out onto the field here. Under 8.5 minutes to play in the third quarter. It's 4th down and 3. Scott motions Purser. Gets the snap, takes it up the middle. He's wrapped up, brought down, and that will end the drive. What a tackle made for Kellenberg. That was Christian Mahfoud.
Freiburg take over on down.
Talk about an excited young man. Look at Chris get underneath that down block and get in there and engage. What a timely play to make. I'll tell you, this is the craziest game I've ever been involved with. This is unbelievable.
Both offenses have really had almost a simple time. I don't want to discredit the defenses, but almost a pretty easy time getting to midfield and beyond. But once it gets there, these defenses have been stonewall. There's a good rush. First down on the carry. Ball came out at the end, but he was down. St. John thought that they had a case. Jaden McLeod with the 12-yard rush. First down for Kellenberg, and they're going to move quick. Hand off again. McLeod takes it just across midfield.
Jordan's got to take that right hand. He likes to carry the ball left-handed, which is fine. He's got to take that right hand and stop using it for balance and collisions and cover the ball on contact.
Going to hand it off to McLeod again. He takes it just short of the first down marker to the 44-yard line. They have to get to the 43. Interesting look on those last two plays. You get both Jaden McLeod and Brendan Barkley in the backfield. Two running backs they like to use. I think in the first half we mostly saw one of them on the field rather than both.
Love that decision. I love that decision by Coach McDermott. I also love the decision to speed up the game a little bit here and there. I like that he's running 2 plays in a row. Just try to pick up the pressure they're putting on the Cougars. We're in 2-down territory here.
They hand it off again this time to Brendan Barkley, who took a hit, but ate it, added a few more yards to an already first down rush.
Number 22, Brendan Barkley.
Boys got to be careful about using those helmets as like torpedoes. Got to be very careful. Great to see, on that note, great to see Brandon Maloney back out on the field for the Cougars.
They go right back to Barkley. He's going to take it to the 29. Coach McDermott not thinking twice about handing this ball off.
No, you got something going, you ride with it.
We have a man down for the Cougars.
It was interesting right there, Kevin, that we saw Dan Licari annoyed at the player being down on the field. What does that tell us? It tells us that the Firebirds are in a fast-paced momentum. They're moving into that, what we call in football, NASCAR mode, and they're trying to really dig deep into the gas tank of St. John the Baptist.
It looks like you just got one of those hot day, needs a stretch out there. We'll take a look at our upcoming SPORTSCAST while the trainers tend to an injury. Great slate coming up here on that first weekend of October on the Varsity Media Sports Network. You have Oceanside and Massapequa. That's a Friday night game, 6:30. You don't want to miss that. And then we take it to boys soccer on the 4th. Cary versus Bethpage on a Saturday afternoon. That is a really nice upcoming weekend.
I don't know what I'm more excited about. I'm going to be working the Oceanside Massapequa game. Not only is that going to be a great game, but what's that hamburger joint over in Massapequa I love? There's lines around the block. All-American Burger. I'm going to be that much closer to All-American. Kevin, work the game. I'm going to take you there. My treat.
I might have to request it now.
Double-double.
Another handoff here goes to McLeod, and he's going to take it just up to the first down marker. The referees will signal it's good enough for a fresh set. So once again, moving the chains, these running backs.
Let's watch that ball control. Great job, much better job on the exchange. And again, he's holding that ball nice and tight inside that contact. Well, here we are down inside the infamous 30-yard line.
This one's a play action. Rolling out left, the carry looking to throw and gets rid of it just in time, so they avoid potential sack. Move to 2nd and 10.
Smart play by Dan. Not an easy play throwing that ball away.
5:52 to go in the third quarter. Still a 3-0 game. Kellenberg with a promising drive so far, but we know how those have ended today for both teams. They're looking for their first points. Licari with both backs alongside him. Barkley and McLeod. Barkley motions out right side, handoff up the middle. McLeod fumbles, and St. John's is on it again. And guess who? With the third quarter of his life, Jordan Redding, 2 pass deflections, a 20-yard reception, and now a fumble recovery.
Look at they got everything going for him. Everything going for him. And then, oh, man alive. And I do feel for Jaden McLeod right there. He wasn't hit. He wasn't any, just lost the handle. And it happens. And it happens to the kids.
Looked like he maybe got a bump from his left guard who was getting pushed around a little, and sometimes just an unexpected little ounce of contact like that can jar that ball loose. And unfortunately for Kellenberg, another promising drive ends on a fumble.
You know, that hole ripped wide open. And sometimes the running backs, you know, their eyes go immediately to that end zone and not at the task at hand.
Again, the Cougars with a chance to turn a turnover into points. They haven't been able to do so today. They've been shut out since their opening drive, and Coach Alba is going to have to use his second timeout of the half. Looked like some confusion from Maurice Scott. He kind of looked over to the sideline once, thought he had what they called, and then looks back over and kind of threw his arms up.
You know, I talked about it earlier. James Alba is using this. James Alba is using this great formation.
Let's look at the upcoming schedule for the Cougars. First, Cardinal Spellman, then Christ the King, Fordham Prep, and then at St. Peter's on November 1st. Catholic League schedule, never easy, and this is a big game for them when you look at the upcoming schedule.
You know, and we're going to know more about St. Peter's right now. They're rolling around over at Chaminade with those guys. And we're gonna find out what St. Peter's really is. Tough Staten Island kids.
And we're still trying to learn about these two teams here. 3-0 game. And you feel like the offenses have both just left a few plays out there that they really want back. Scott goes play action, throws right side, open man. It's caught to the 38-yard line. A big completion. It's Brandon Hunter, typically a starting corner. He ends up in the slot there and pulls one in.
And interestingly enough, we see Jamad Jackson in the backfield giving Kalen a little bit of a break here. Beautiful pass, and what a finish right there by Brandon Hunter.
Attention Firebird fans, the Phoenix Emporium store will be closing after the third quarter, so please make sure you get down there and buy your Firebird gear. The Phoenix Emporium is open now, but will be closing after the third quarter.
It's 1st and 10 now from the 38-yard line. Scott gets the snap, hands it off. Good job setting the edge. He breaks a tackle, though. A good rush for Jamad Jackson just to get back to the line of scrimmage, but a better job setting the edge for Kellenberg. That was Anthony Cabrera.
Well, you know, you wonder what's going on with Kalen. Hopefully he's not banged up. It's gonna be tough to win for either of these teams to win this game. It's going to be particularly tough for the Cougars to maintain the ball control they need without Kalen in this game.
And just reading some sideline body language. Purser's not getting any medical attention. He's standing next to his offensive coordinator, and he just actually gave him a mutual head nod. We'll see if that means he's ready to come back in or not, but they're in good hands in the backfield with Jamad Jackson in the meantime. Here's the drop back from Scott. He airs this one out up the right sideline. It's going to be incomplete. Looking for Kevin Peters, but great coverage for Kellenberg.
You know, Kevin, we have to remember that Jalen took 3 huge collisions. Well, I'm going to call him Mr. Cabrera. I don't want him hitting me in this game. That was college level collisions right there.
It's now 3rd down and 10. Kalen Purser still not on the field, on the sideline, stretching a bit now. We get a flag. 2 flags now. Scott's going to run for 6 yards. I think you'll possibly get flags on each side here. Holding on the offense is the first signal, and that may have been both flags. Both flags for the same penalty there. Take another look.
Yeah, we've got that at center and nose guard right there. That was a bit of a takedown. And I think you're right, Kevin. I think both the umpire and the head referee saw the same thing.
We'll back it up. And that penalty is an interesting decision for a coach because you either have the 4th and 5 or you can back it up and try and better your field position. But, of course, risking anything potentially going wrong on 3rd down, letting the offense do it again. But at this position on the field, likely the right call from Coach Micey.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. It's another field position situation. Is this a timeout?
It certainly looks that way. I haven't seen a signal. If it is, no, it's not.
No, kids just came over the side. Listen to what, they're close enough to coach. Get a little inspiration there.
The Cougars only have 1 timeout remaining in this second half already, not even done with the 3rd quarter. They used both in the first 7 minutes. Scott's going to drop back, throw one deep over the middle, has his man, and it's just out of reach. Kevin Peters, 1 over the middle on the post route in single coverage, but the throw just a yard too far. It'll be 4th down.
You and I, Kevin, were talking about the long throw earlier today. We haven't seen a lot of it successfully. Sometimes it's just not what you do. It's just not what you do well. They do so many other things well, and that might not be on the list.
And regardless, certainly one that Maurice Scott's going to want back. There's the punt team, which has been really good for St. John today. This is going to bounce short of the returner, be picked up, and trying to turn this into good field position, getting it across midfield to the 40-yard line, out of bounds at the 38. Really nice return for John Hastings. Kellenberg's in business.
Why, what a play by John right there. I mean, John brought it almost all the way back to the original line of scrimmage. Really, really great play. Watch this. We get a beautiful block right here from Mark Chinaski. And that's a tough block. You don't want to get called for a push in the back. You don't want to get called for a clip. And Mark showed great discipline there.
A 3-0 game, and you can also credit Coach Micey a bit for this field position. Made the right call on that penalty. St. John's doesn't get anything back. Here's a screen to the right side. Caught. A lot of white jerseys there. It feels like St. John may be ready for that screen game. We get a late flag at the end after the no gain on the reception from Jaden McLeod. This might be against the defense. Face mask. That's a really tough break for St. John, who had 5 or 6 defenders in on the tackle.
Boy, they had this. This is a great play, but it has to be done clean in order to work. And
there it is.
And the Cougars do a great job of swarming to the ball, but it turns into a 5-yard, really a 7-yard gain.
It was Finn Hansen who hardly grazed the face mask for half a second, but certainly going to get called every time. Great job by the officials who have really been on it today. Here's another screen right side, complete, and that'll get him just short of the first down marker. It's Brandon McCabe on the reception.
Yeah, you got to hand it to Coach McDermott. I mean, obviously Coach Alber as well, but Coach McDermott, he's sticking with this game plan. He's not trying to fix fumbles by changing what works, and so many coaches do that. well, we're fumbling the ball. I better change all the plays that just worked well. It makes no sense. Real discipline by Coach McDermott.
Low snap, handled the carry. He's going to throw it away. So it'll be 3rd and 1, and that's a wise decision by the quarterback on 2nd down and 1. Good opportunity for you to still punch it in. .237 to go here in the 3rd quarter. Again, still a 3-0 game. A huge 3rd down for Kellenberg. It's a handoff. Barkley takes it for the 1st down.
That's a Firebird 1st down.
And now for Kellenberg, right back inside the 30, a place you've been a few times today, and you haven't been able to protect the ball. This is a pivotal spot for them.
There's some sort of a ghost or a demon living inside this 30-yard line. I don't know what's happening in there.
And you know it's going to be on the mind of both running backs, who each have their fumbles in this game. There's a handoff to Barkley. Doesn't go for much, if anything. And you see him 2 hands on that ball for Barkley as he took that up the middle.
Offensive linemen getting into the ball security business right now. They're jumping in there, and because you see kids like Brandon Maloney over with the Cougars, they're tearing away at that ball. All right, Kevin, here we are in the Bermuda Triangle.
There's a throw left side. It's dropped. An incompletion, looking for Jaden McLeod. Even if it was caught, likely wouldn't go for much because Brandon Hunter came in humming on that ball.
Another official shout out, Kevin. That's Robert LaBarber. Oh, let's get to this play. Beautiful placement by Dan. But that official right there waving it incomplete, that's Robert LaBarber Jr. His dad is a veteran of the Nassau County Officials Association. And little factoid, Robert played for me at Limbrook. Outstanding high school football player.
Jet sweep, trying to cut it back in. But it's going to go for nothing. That's a big 3rd down tackle made.
Tackled by number 11, Dominic Witt.
Dominic Witt is having a game today. 2 fumble recoveries and a huge tackle there on 3rd down.
Absolutely. Dominic's going to love watching this replay today. A real master for the hardest thing to do in football. Watch this. Open field tackle. Any of you folks on watching at home think that skill is easy? I'd say try it. Try it out there in the middle of a 56-yard wide field.
Jaden McLeod is down for Kellenberg. There's 56 seconds to go here in the 3rd quarter. 4th down and 9. You try for the field goal here, Coach?
I don't think so. I think this might be a little far. I don't know what kind of strength we have, that kind of strength that Kellenberg has from their kicker. That being said, if he does have that kind of hip strength, what do you have to lose? Drive the ball hard. It lands in the end zone. It comes out to the 20, and they're playing great defense.
Coach Micey did tell me that they have a little bit of a kicker controversy, for lack of a better term, here this year. They dealt with some injuries over the summer, and now they have 2 kickers, Ryan Kuntz and Caleb Diassi. I'd imagine Diassi, based on what Coach told me on the phone this week, would be the guy to line up for the field goals and extra points, but he said it's just a week-to-week basis, and great to see Jaden McLeod getting up here, although heading to the sideline with assistance from his teammates and trainer.
Yeah, it's obviously it's a leg injury there, and he looks like he's very uncomfortable.
Right leg, he's not putting down at all. Quick prayer for Jaden, excuse me, and hopefully nothing too serious for him as he heads off. 4th and 9 now. The offense takes the field for Kellenberg. Bakari gets it. Rolls out, pumps, throws, it's caught on the near side.
Is he over that line of scrimmage? Not sure.
McCabe made the catch, but you see a discussion being had right now between the referees. They're going to say it was complete.
Scrimmage is on the 32. Here he goes. Oh, boy.
Looks like he was beyond.
Oh, boy. You know, you can come back over the line of scrimmage and throw it legally. Boy, oh, boy, that was close. And you know what, in all fairness, being close, I'm glad they didn't call it. You know, you don't want to make calls that you're not sure actually happened. And, you know, that takes a lot of discipline for an officiating crew. And that was gosh darn close. What a play by Daniel right there. You know, now you got Jordan. Jaden is down. So now the Firebirds got to go to Brendan as a full-time running back, sophomore, number 22.
Take a look at this offensive line right now that they've been running behind. Christian Jean-Francois, Daniel Clark, Luca DeCicco, John Kitson, and Nick Nielsen, a really good group of guys up front.
And you know what? They've been doing a great job today, and sometimes those offensive linemen in the darker sides of the sideline are putting their arms around each other and saying, what the heck is going on back there behind us, fellas? We can't make the holes any bigger. So let's see what Brendan Barkley's going to do with those opportunities. You know, he's a young running back. He's a really talented lacrosse player and a good-looking athlete, and he's had some big plays on his own today.
34 seconds to go in this third quarter. It's 1st down and 10 after the 4th down conversion. Bakari gives it to Barkley, who almost slipped through. In on the tackle was Jordan Redding. Jordan Redding has just been a game wrecker in this second half.
I will say, though, Kev, you know, and I'm not rooting for anybody here, but I'm saying to Brendan, hey, yo, secure that ball. I'm seeing too much light between the ball and his body.
Another rush will take him to the 6-yard line. So it'll bring up 1st and goal as Barkley gets there. Now this is the furthest Kellenberg's been all day. The closest they've gotten to the end zone, and that'll end the third quarter. Also an interesting note about 30 seconds ago, the Cougars did burn their last timeout. So they'll enter the fourth quarter with none, and we'll see how they operate when we come back. 3-0 lead, but Kellenberg is knocking at the door with just 12 minutes left to play. Don't go anywhere. We'll have it right after this on the Varsity Media Sports Network.
Now is a great time to book a sportscast with Varsity Media. What sets our sportscast apart isn't just the quality of our production, it's the knowledge, passion, and professionalism that our announcers bring to every game.
It's Merrill. Oh, look at a fake by Merrill. There's the spin again. Gary Merrill is not human. Touchdown, St. Anthony. Profeta! 1-0, Garden City.
Our commentators research athletes and highlight storylines that matter to your communities. Our approach creates a broadcast experience that not only informs, but elevates the athletes, giving the kind of recognition usually reserved for professional levels. Varsity Media's announcers make sure that every athlete has their moment. So book a Varsity Media Sportscast today, and let's
Kellenberg was looking for their first touchdown, but they get a flag right away. Early sign saying that it's on the Firebirds, and it is false start. They've just had such a an issue with trying to get into the end zone. To get inside the 10 has been a miracle because we've mentioned it between 10 yards and 30 yards has been just a disaster of just odd mistakes that usually wouldn't make, and now a penalty here backs him up. 1st and goal from the 11. Lakari gets it, hands it off. Barkley up the middle. He'll get some of those yards back. To the 7-yard line he goes.
Boy, he hits that hole very hard. And you know what? I want to get back to that Kellenberg offensive line. Dan Clark, he just had a drive block. They almost ended up in the snack shack. That was a beautiful drive block by Danny Clark.
He's been terrific at right guard. At left guard, excuse me. Akari looks to his sideline. Coach McDermott gives him the signal. Steps back in. Barkley to his left. Out of the shotgun. Lakari gets the snap. Hands it off. Barkley up the middle. And Kellenberg is finally in on homecoming. They take their first lead of the day in the 4th quarter.
Kellenberg touchdown. Number 22, Brendan Barkley.
Coach Micey, Coach McDermott, and everyone involved wearing blue today can take a deep, deep breath because they have points on the board.
Number 22, you know, it's the game of sports. Opportunity knocks. You need to be ready to answer the door. Brendan Barkley got an opportunity. And here we are at 7-3.
The point is good. Number 30, Kiyoshi.
All that comfort that, albeit not too much comfort, but all that comfort that St. John's had today with a 3-0 lead. For 3 quarters, they scored on their opening drive. Now gone, and they have to up the urgency, and the pressure's on a little bit onto this offense.
Yeah, and you know, sometimes you wonder with the Kellenberg mindset in this game, you know, even though in the Catholic League, even though you're 0-4, and because you've played that highly competitive non-league schedule, sometimes you can look past an opponent. And I wonder if a little bit of what we're seeing today is maybe they didn't give the Cougars enough respect for the toughness that they have. But we're going to find that out in the next, what do we got here, 11 minutes and 7 seconds?
You mentioned something earlier about Coach Jim McDermott, who's calling the plays, about staying true to your game plan and just trying to do what works even when it doesn't work. And I think he really has personified that today. Easy to try and abandon a playbook mid-game and abandon a plan mid-game when things are going wrong, but he doesn't, and because of it, doesn't matter how you got here, you have a 4-point lead in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, he's too old of a dog, you know, to be throwing out any playbooks. He knows his story.
Another short kickoff. It's trouble! St. John's dives on it at just the right moment. It was really close. Gabe Alfaro almost jumped on that ball for Kellenberg.
Oh, we got Will Kenahan sneaking one of Long Beach's finest, sneaking his way into that pile, trying to squeeze that ball out.
Once again, good starting field position for the Cougars. You feel like you need at least 3 on this drive. With your great kicker, if you can get inside 25 yards.
It's an interesting call. It was a very interesting decision for that onside kick. You talk about, you know what? You don't make big plays unless you make big calls. Very gutsy play. Well, we've got Kalen out here again.
The return of Kalen Purser, who's definitely taken a beating today, but he's too tough to stay out in the 4th quarter. He gets the handoff, takes it to the right side, across the 40 to the 41. It's about 2 yards.
Nice job on this counter play. We get both of those big linemen out there. And who is that? Big number 70, Guillermo Rodriguez. Gets himself right up through that hole. It's hard to run, though, at Chris Biondi.
There's a screen left side. And he's met. Freight train versus freight train there. It was Jordan Redding with the reception.
Look, beautiful play. Well, almost looked like he wanted to throw the thing. Watch this body tackle. Who's that on that tackle, Coach? What do we got? Is that Jaden McLeod? No, it can't be Jaden McLeod. Maybe Sean Hayden. Wow.
That was a great play. It was tough to see from our angle the number on that, but unbelievable tackle.
Seeing a light come on here at Kellenberg.
3rd and 4 now. Handoff. Left side! Bursting through! Kalen Purser returns to the game and gets his team the lead back. This kid's special. There's a flag down around the 18-yard line. Referees consult. St. John offense is walking back to the line of scrimmage. First signal is holding. We get another look. The flag is down at the 18-yard line.
Boy, I don't see anything just yet. It had to be after the play. It had to be after the play.
So they'll move the chains still. They'll get it inside the 35. Right now the ball is placed down at the 33. But a huge run for Kalen Purser, and the big play that St. John really needed is not going to count for a touchdown. It'll count for about a 30-yard rush. And now stepping into the pistol formation, Maurice Scott lining up behind him is Kalen Purser. Scott hands it off left side. Purser cuts it back. Picks up about 3 yards. One of the great benefits of Kalen Purser is, Coach said, something that gets you on the field as a running back. He blocks as a pass blocker, too. He's a very good blocker, so a really well-rounded back.
I'll tell you what, Kevin, I'm still getting over that penalty call and trying to figure out what the heck actually happened in there. But you know what? Where did it happen? Inside the Bermuda Triangle, underneath the 30-yard line, where all things are possible today.
If I got to the 31-yard line and I was an offensive coordinator, I'm saying go for the end zone 3 times because we're not going inside.
I officiate lacrosse on this field. I think I'm just going to keep my position a little higher next time I'm here.
You're going to have to. Dangerous inside that 30.
Yes.
After the penalty, it's 2nd and 12 for St. John. The Cougars are down 4 here. It's their first drive of the day while trailing. 2nd down and 12. They're outside of field goal range, but not too far from where I think Coach Alba would give it a try. Here's a handoff. Purser took some hard contact. Down at the 26.
Kalen Purser might be the toughest kid in America. And who just tattooed him? That's Nick Bykic. What a collision by number 75. I'm sorry, what am I saying? Chris Biondi.
Biondi has just been an absolute game wrecker over the middle today. 7:58 to go in the 4th quarter. The drop back, scramble. He's got room to run and does. It'll be short. It'll bring up 4th and 4, excuse me. So Maurice Scott couldn't get there, and good job by Kellenberg.
One thing Kellenberg has been doing consistently today, and that is body tackle. There's Joe Mullen. Beautiful tackle, shoulder tackle right there.
The offense stays on the field. They're not going to go to Jaden Osmani, who is a terrific kicker.
And you know what, Kevin, I agree with this. I mean, 7-6, you're still losing by a point. And I think that their odds are a little bit better running this play.
4th down and 3. Scott drops back, looks left, throws towards the end zone. Purser has it for the touchdown.
Touchdown, Cougars.
The Cougars retake the lead on a big 4th down conversion.
What a plan by James Alba, going into an empty backfield, screwing up who's covering who, and an absolutely beautiful touch pass. Just a really, really great job.
And again, we don't have a dog in this fight, but Kalen Purser deserving of a touchdown today.
And you know what? Maurice and Kalen are probably doing that every day before practice. Having a little catch, putting a little touch on it. Well executed.
Jaden Osmani will kick now. That extra point is through. His 3-point field goal on the opening drive is the difference in this game now. 10-7 the lead for the Cougars. Kellenberg's going to have to come back out now with under 7 minutes to try and get that lead back.
Well, you know what? With Brendan Barkley in that backfield, he showed us on the last series that he's more than capable of carrying this team's run game down the field. And you can never discount Danny at quarterback and some of these great receivers that the Kellenberg guys have.
They'll retake the field, and they have a little bit of momentum offensively after being able to score a touchdown last time, even though they come back out trailing by 3 again.
Something tells me, Kevin, this one's going to be a fabulous finish.
It's been a great game to this point. Finally, some touchdowns now. But defensively, plays have been made. Offensively, plays have been made all day. And on special teams.
Interesting what Coach Micey's done right now. He pulled Brendan Barker off the sideline and put him in one of the deeper level positions here on the kick return.
Again, your score 10-7 now. St. John the Baptist was down for about 4 minutes in this game, but they retake the lead. And they have led now for the better part of 44 minutes, 45 minutes. Good kick. And that's going to set up nice field position. Great coverage on the kickoff.
And, you know, there's been so many heroes today on both teams. But Dominic Witt, who just made that open field tackle, he's been one of the heroes today for the Cougars. Constantly around the footballs, made some big plays on both sides of the ball. He should be proud of himself today with today's performance.
16-yard line.
2 fumble recoveries for Witt. Couple tackles for loss coming out of the secondary. A guy who's not a bona fide starter on this team, but talk about earning your snaps.
Yeah, he's going to have an NIL discussion with Coach Albert after this one.
Here's a rush on the read option. Makari takes it
Carried by number 9, Dan Makari.
to the 21-yard line.
Gain of 5 on the play.
It's funny, Kevin, the Cougars are not giving up on trying to strip this ball. Seeing a lot of guys getting their hands in there.
And one thing that has really stood out to me is their ability to go for that, but not miss tackles. A lot of guys sometimes sell out for it. Here's a option play, throw left side, caught, a lot of blockers, and a huge gain, flag in the secondary. John Hastings takes it across midfield, though, but they might lose some yards on the end of it.
May have had a block up there in the high secondary area. It looked like it was from behind. Yeah.
And it's a hold on Kellenberg. So that'll bring things back.
You know, and it's stalk blocking. Stalk blocking's a real skill. Not easy to do. You got kids twisting on you in the last second. You got sometimes you might have an official that doesn't see the beginning of the block but sees the final result of the block. And that's not a complaint. It's just the way it is. And can get really dicey out there. Well, you know what? 2nd and 1, so it's not the worst situation.
Second down and 1. Again, just take this time to remind you the timeout situation here for Kellenberg. Still 3 left for St. John. They came into the 4th quarter with no timeouts remaining. Could play a big role if Kellenberg can tie or take the lead. There's a handoff and a gaping hole and a great run. Getting some yards after contact, picking up the first down. Brendan Barkley, who has the lone touchdown for the Firebirds today.
And, you know, speaking of stalk blocking, you just saw for the Firebirds, number 3, Ryan Kuntz. Outstanding job. Watch him at the end of this play. There's number 3. Look at his extension. Look him stay in the frame. And when it turns sort of into a hold, he gave up the block. Great veteran job by that junior.
Another handoff to Barkley. He has some great footwork. Continues to drive down to the 42-yard line. He's the hot hand right now.
He certainly is. And, you know, you don't want to get too cute with yourself, but maybe Kellenberg might want to think about slowing down just a little bit.
You got a flag and the play's dead.
Flag on the play.
Coach Micey thinks it's an offside.
Yep, it's an encroachment. You know, I was teasing before, and you know, we as coaches love to get excited and stuff, but you know, the Cougars are winning right now. Coach Alba needs to be careful. Just be careful. Stepping out onto that field.
Barkley is lined up behind the center to take the snap. To his right is the quarterback, and they're going to look to the sideline and now switch things up. So Barkley back to his right. Lakari gets the snap, looks left. He's pressured, running backwards. Lakari turns nothing into something and picks up 12 yards. Doing his best Josh Allen impression. Picking up a first down after it looked like he was guaranteed a loss of about 7.
Trapped like a rat. And he gets out of that. Look at him turn the corner, Kevin. Kevin, I won't apologize for doing my Santa Claus laugh over while you were speaking, but that was an incredible play by Danny Lakari.
That play deserved the Santa Claus laugh. Handoff, Barkley hurdles a man and gets taken down at the 24. And this team playing with some energy right now, a little loose compared to what we saw earlier today.
And there's Dominic Witt, hard on that stunt. Dominic Witt saying to his team, watch Dominic come through here. He's saying, I've had enough. Time to make a tackle. Great tackle by Dominic.
A low snap there, handled by Lakari, and he gets the handoff, something that won't show up in the box score, but made an impact on that play. Lakari fakes it, looked left. He's just going to run on his own. He's got some blockers in front, but taking him down or out of bounds was Jordan Redding.
You know, we're handing it to all these skill guys here, Danny and Brendan and all the kids from Kellenberg that are getting this job done. But let's never forget, it's these linemen that are getting this done. They got their hands on their hips. They're breathing heavy right now, and it's just a thankless job, and they're being heroes out there right now. These Firebird offensive linemen.
3.5 minutes to play now. 10-7 the score. Trailing by 3 is Kellenberg. They have a 3rd and 7. It feels like their biggest down of the day till this point. A lot of time. Throw over the middle. Diving catch is made for a first down.
Beautiful diving catch. Look at this twist stunt over on the right side. Nick Nilsson picks that up. Oh, man, alive. And they finish off with a big catch.
That was Nick Rugen, who made a great play. The junior wide receiver. A tough catch. We'll get some whistles. And it's going to be, once again, encroachment.
Right on the play, encroachment against the Cougars.
Something that the Cougars have not been able to get rid of today.
You know, both teams have made their share of those silly mistakes, the things that you just don't want to see. You know, for the Firebirds, it's been a case of the fumbles. And for the Cougars, it's been a case of the jumps. They got the yips up there on the defensive line.
Kellenberg now 1st and 5 from about the 8-yard line. Handoff, Barkley taken down at the line of scrimmage.
Cougar tackle by number 32, Christopher Trinka.
Approaching 2.5 minutes to play now.
You know, if you're Kellenberg, you can't be thinking about field goals right now. You got to be thinking about the win. 2:22 and running.
And you know the situation on the other side is a coach and a team with no timeouts in St. John the Baptist. Another handoff for Barkley. Takes it up the middle. Looking for his second of the day. And they say he's down at the 1.
Oh, man alive. Oh, my goodness gracious. Whoa. Whoa.
And there's a touchdown for Barkley, his second of the game, and he puts his team back out in front with under 2 minutes to play. All of the dramatics on this Saturday afternoon, homecoming for Kellenberg.
My goodness gracious. Wow.
Huge extra point here.
And look at those offensive linemen. They look like Mount Rushmore out there. Unmoving, doing their job. Oh, you gotta love those kids.
This is a huge field goal, extra point, for Caleb Diassi. The hold, the kick is through, nearly blocked. 4-point lead. St. John the Baptist needs a touchdown, or this game will end as they have no timeouts.
Number 30, Caleb Diassi.
And how about the celebration? He goes right to the lineman for the pickup. You mentioned it before, when opportunity knocks, answer the door. Brendan Barkley has done it this afternoon. Jaden McLeod unfortunately leaves the game with an injury. Barkley inherits his workload, and he's capitalized 2 touchdowns in the second half.
If we see an onside kick right now, I'm leaving. I'm going in the car. You call me later, okay? Oh, my goodness gracious. I retired from coaching. I don't have the guts for this.
A minute 50 away from their first win of the season. Eric Micey and his team have a tall task to try and close this one out against a difficult St. John opponent.
Well, all bets are off here, Kevin. All bets are off. This is going to be the hairiest minute and 59 we've been around in a while.
The kickoff.
Okay.
It's inside the 30, so you don't get that onside again. Good job by Kellenberg. They take him down at the 36-yard line. And that's where this drive will start. We do have an injury on the field, though. It's for St. John. I believe it's Christopher Trinka, who is down, who's grabbing at his knee, took off his helmet. What's the message here if you're James Alba and Phil Alba for this final drive? You have no timeouts. You got a minute 44 to work with.
Breathe. One play at a time. You don't. What is the one thing we don't control out here? And that is time. All right, time works on God's schedule. Okay, whatever's called, deal with it right there and be great at it. In terms of the Firebirds, I don't know if this is more of a conversation that Coach Chimenti is having with me in my ear sets, or it's for the kids. Be aggressive. Don't play safe. Do not play safe. Be aggressive and make plays, because the Cougars have shown them today that they can be very explosive when they need to be.
And you have an opportunity to do something special here. A minute 44 is on the clock. Maurice Scott has a touchdown pass today to Kalen Purser. Purser Hogue has just been an absolute monster in the backfield, but you wonder what his usage looks like with no timeouts. They'll hand it off to him left side. He's got some room to run. Purser takes a big hit at the 43-yard line, but it's a good first down game. They have to operate quickly, though.
Absolutely, Kevin. This is a great play for the Cougars right now. They don't need to win the game on one play. They need to win the game at the end. That's a great, great job.
Good tackle made by Mark Chernaski. There's a drop back. Deep ball downfield. It is overthrown. Good coverage. Intended target was Jamar Jackson.
And why not throw that play? Stops the clock at a minute 15, and you've got a very manageable third down right here. Love the play call.
Obviously going for it on fourth down if you don't get there. If you hand this off to Purser, he picks it up, your clock stops while the chain moves. So you better have that second play loaded up. Purser is in the backfield. Scott will take the snap. He fakes it. He can run. He will. Scott with a good gain to the 41-yard line. So the clock will stop for a moment. They got to hurry up. And you see James Alba is signaling towards his quarterback, saying spike, but I think that might be out the window here. Just a moment later. Scott gets the snap. Looks left, now over the middle. He has time. Scott getting pressured now. He tucks it. Runs it up the middle. Makes a few men miss. Breaks a tackle. And Scott with a great effort will be short of the first down.
Boy, he could have had a cup of coffee back here. But you know what? That's not helping them. You know, they need to get open and get that ball out. We're at 29 seconds right now, and it's running.
Second down, they will spike it. So second down and about a yard and a half. 2 yards, actually, is what they need to get a first.
Honestly, Kevin, you got a light front here from Kellenberg. It's not a heavy box, meaning run stoppers. Get the first down, spike it again. Get the first down, let them set the chains, and then clock the ball again.
23 seconds on the clock. The Kellenberg homecoming crowd is making their presence known. Here's a drop back from Scott. He's looking to run. He does. And he is going to be ruled down short, I believe. No signal for a first down yet. And they'll give it to him. So it is a first down, and exactly what you said seems to be the signal. Clock this ball, 13 seconds to go. Four-point lead for Kellenberg. Scott in the shotgun, lined up to his right. Kalen Purser.
Timeout, Firebird.
A timeout for Kellenberg. All the dramatics here at this homecoming Saturday afternoon, packed house at Kellenberg Memorial. And now, St. John, do you try to take a few shots to the end zone here? It's a really tough spot for play calling.
I think it's worth one shot. I think it's worth one shot to the end zone.
Kellenberg looking for their first win here. They're 13 seconds away. After this, St. Joseph by the Sea and Stepanak on the road, and then home against Iona Prep and your boys in Chaminade to wrap it up on November 1st.
Oh, boy, that is some schedule. Tough schedule. And the first one, even though St. Joseph's by the Sea is probably the fourth on that list, you got to go to Staten Island, and that is not an easy trip to make.
So we'll go from 13 seconds to 11 on the clock. A 4-point lead. It's second down and 10. You wonder if Scott just looks towards the end zone twice. They're at the 32-yard line. Scott drops back, scrambling, throws upfield. It's caught, heading towards the end zone, making a man miss, and in! Waiting for the official call. They're saying he's down at the 1. Referees are discussing it for a moment, but it looks like Kellenberg gets their first win of the season. Unbelievable finish.
The final score, Kellenberg 14, St. John the Baptist 10.
Down at the 1-yard line was the ruling. We'll get another look at this reception from Jamad Jackson. A great catch made.
What a catch with his fingernails there. It is...
Oh, so close, but he just might have been short with the knee down.
Yeah, what a great game. And you know what? We can... Americans have been yelling about calls and what happens at the end of games forever. What a tremendous effort by both of these teams. Outstanding job by both of these teams. And you got to really hand it to, obviously, Kellenberg for winning the thing and coming back, for the Cougars for fighting their heads off all day long.
Unbelievable game. Completely remarkable from start to finish. All the dramatics and a win for Kellenberg, most importantly, here at their homecoming. 14-10, the final score. Both teams will move on to tough weeks next week and look to continue their season. But for us, that'll be a wrap on today's production. We really appreciate you sticking with us for a game that we could rewatch for years to come. Again, your final score, 14-10. Kellenberg gets the win over St. John the Baptist here at home. A happy homecoming in Kellenberg on this Saturday afternoon. We thank you for sticking with us. I thank our entire team here, for myself, Kevin Buck, my partner, Kevin Dolan. We'll see you next weekend on the Varsity Media Sports Network.